people are coming in from all over. So yeah, today I guess our goal is to look at what's been going on under the hood in the Moonwell governance forums, looking at a couple of proposals that have passed and a couple of other meta topics that have come up in the past month or so. Really, the goal of this first call is just to get all of the main contributors here in one place, and then also just put a human voice behind the proposers as well. Yeah, and before we do that, I'll give a little bit of a PSA about Boardroom. Oh yeah, so my name is Alex, obviously. We have a couple people from Boardroom here. Valerie is with us as well. Essentially, Boardroom is just a neutral third party who's working with Moonwell on all things governance. We work directly with both the contributing teams as well as the community members, just to make sure the governance runs smoothly. We also have a data platform that you can check out at boardroom.io. And basically, yeah, so you can just expect to hear from us in the forums, posting weekly and monthly updates, hosting these governance calls as well, which in the future, these will be on the first of every month. And then we're also in the Moonwell Discord, of course, you can find us there. And yeah, so back to the call today. We're happy to have on 3 contributors to Moonwell, along with a couple of delegates as well. And so I'll go ahead and stop talking as soon as possible, and I'll let each one of them introduce themselves one by one. Go ahead and get to the agenda here. So this is the order that we'll go in today. And yeah, so I'll first throw it to the Gauntlet guys to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourselves, talk a little bit about your role at Gauntlet, a little bit about, I guess, what your organization or company does as well. And yeah, we'll go ahead and go from there. Let me go ahead and let Emil speak.
Yeah, hey Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, my name is Camille. I'm a technical program manager at Gauntlet, and my role specifically involves working with top DeFi protocols, obviously including Moonwell, and ensuring that our solutions and integrations proceed smoothly for them. I also oversee a team of data scientists and engineers in different support situations and communicate with the community, as you can see in the forums, as well as on Telegram and Twitter. As for the Gauntlet, we are DeFi risk manager. We cover more than $9 billion of different client assets, which is about 25% of total TVL in DeFi. And we mainly focus on risk management, incentive optimization, and also recently on treasury management. So yeah, excited to be here. And on a call with me today is Sai from our DS team. So Sai would be happy to answer any kind of follow-up technical questions. So yeah, we're excited to be there.
Awesome. Thank you, Camille. Let's see here. Let's see, Warden Finance. See, Hugo. There we go. Got you.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, yep, we got you.
Great. Yeah, so I'm Hugo. I'm the founder at Warden Finance. So we're a risk management partner at Moonwell. So we help provide tooling and also risk recommendations for the Moonwell community, along with Gauntlet. So we've been doing that for the past 9 months. Very excited to be here.
Beautiful. Thank you, Hugo. And then last up, we have Elliot from Solidity Labs.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elliot. I'm the founder of Solidity Labs. We're a boutique consulting shop. We're focused on building secure smart contract systems. And for the past, period of time now, we've been a contributor at Moonwell. So we wanted to, come on board and update the community as to what we're working on, what's next in the pipeline, and how we're going about thinking the architecture for the system and the security measures we're taking. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And then we also have 2 delegates here as well. I'll go ahead and throw it to them towards the end because I think we have a little bit more of a longer discussion to go for them. So for now, we'll just go ahead and go straight into the proposals for the contributors. A couple of quick housekeeping things. So yeah, there will be a community Q&A at the end, so mark down any of your questions as we go if anything comes up. And then we also have a hard timing cutoff for 15 minutes per speaker, just to make sure we have 4 different groups talking, just to make sure we can fit it all within the 60 minutes. There's a little bit of wiggle room, of course, but we like to keep it there. So yeah, from there, we'll go ahead and go to our first topic. We'll have Camille or Sai come back on and talk about the quarterly update. I thought it would be a good idea just to get an overview, I guess, of the past activity as well before we go into the more current stuff. So I'll go ahead and throw it back to you, Camille, whenever you're ready.
Sounds great. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that our Q4 work can be broken down in 3 main parts. So first part is just scheduled monthly parameter updates for base, Moonbeam, and Moonriver markets. The second part is base Guardian Rex. And the third one is, different additional tools, features, and recommendations that help secure risk on Moonwell. So for scheduled monthly parameter Rex, essentially we run daily risk simulations such as Monte Carlo simulations and different stress tests. And we adjust protocol parameters for, market stability and growth support. We adjust such parameters as borrow, supply caps, IR curves, reserve factors, collateral factors. And as for the base, we have guardians, and we have made at least 11 guardian recommendations in Q4. Being a guardian essentially allows us to adjust borrow and supply caps dynamically and right away without having to wait sometimes for the governance. And I think that's crucial because it helps us to manage risk more efficiently because we don't need to wait for different risk proposals to be approved. It should also be noted that we have recently became borrow guardians for Moonbeam and Moonriver, which is also quite exciting because this way we can once again manage the racks more efficiently. As for some additional tools, features and recommendations that we have provided Moonwell in Q4, we can say that's the Moonwell account explorer dashboard, also weekly market updates, which essentially covers the state of the market, some of the largest liquidations happening there, and in general, the health of different protocol instances. Also, we have delivered an asset listing framework, an updated version of it, so any community member can propose a new asset to Moonwell if they think that they would contribute to the growth of the ecosystem. Also, we helped with Frax liquidity analysis and with bad debt management. And our most kind of recent deliverable was risk alerting system for Moonwell. So we notify the team if anything, major risk related is happening, and our internal software tracks real-time data 24/7, and this obviously helps to improve risk. I think that's it when it comes to the Q4 updates. We'll be happy to answer any follow-up questions.
Great. Yeah, if anyone has any questions as we go as well, you can always raise your hand. But if not, we'll go ahead and at the most previous, the weekly market update. You want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, let me kind of explain to you what this market update is used for. So that's mainly the update on market conditions and making sure that we continuously monitor different parameters. And within this market update, we can see, let's say, any reasons for potential future parameter changes. And we can also see different stats such as highlights like borrow and supply usage, utilization rate, and slippage sometimes. Also, we track some notable changes, some notable asset performance changes, so liquidation events. And also, this is done in a very, let's say, clear manner. We use a lot of graphs illustrating market trends and different financial projections. Talking about the market weekly highlight from the past week, I think that week's statistics highlights several assets such as DAI, USDC, wrapped ETH, and DAI's supply cap, for example, exceeded 75%, signaling strong demand for this market. And such assets as USD BC or Coinbase Ethereum showed more moderate engagement. And as for the week-over-week movements, our Ethereum's borrow balance increased by 61%, and USD BC's borrow balance slightly decreased. So I think that these shifts are natural, and they basically illustrate the dynamic nature of market participation and asset utilization. As for the liquidations, we observed minimal liquidations, and that's actually great because it indicates a stable market environment. And our projections for interest and reserves suggest a healthy growth trajectory for the protocol in general. So in summary, we can say that the market is stable, and we don't think that any immediate adjustments are needed. And as usual, we are continuously, monitoring the market, and we'll make sure to provide any updates to the community in case we need some changes.
Awesome, thanks. So the next weekly update, I believe, would be going live in the next couple of days, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, every Friday. And
Every Friday.
What's more, so far we have been providing the updates for only the base market. But I think that this Friday we should also be shipping them for Moonbeam and Moonriver. So this way we can have a more extensive overview of various protocol instances.
Got it. All right. And then the last one on the Gauntlet side, Camille, you mentioned your role as a cap guardian, and so these were the cap recommendations for DAI, the most recent ones. And I believe this was through Cap Guardian. You have to correct me if I'm wrong there, but we'll go ahead and throw it to you.
Yeah. So for DAI, we actually decreased supply and borrow caps around 15 days ago on January 31st. And the reason we did that was, first of all, we have seen that there is high utilization for DAI, and we have also noticed that there is diminishing on-chain liquidity. So that's why we basically reduced the caps. What is more, the circulating supply of DAI has continued to drop since our last parameter rack. And at the time of our guardian recommendation, it was sitting at 5.3 million compared to 6.1 million, essentially, a couple of months ago. And if the circulating supply decreases, I think it only makes sense to decrease, borrow and supply caps. So that's what we did. On top of that, the largest position supply in DAI are borrowing collateral assets or borrowing recursively. And we're also monitoring this because sometimes, looping or recursive borrowing might not be healthy for the protocol. That was the main reasons behind, why we decided to decrease the borrow and supply caps for DAI.
All right, awesome. And I want to mention really quickly for our delegates here, not only the speaker delegates, but any others that are here as well. If you want to chime in with any questions for either speaker before we move on, go ahead and let me know. You can raise your hand. It looks like we have one from Curly. I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see here.
Hey, folks. Hey. So a quick question about when you guys are making changes to the caps. Can you give some insight as to what impact that might have on the supply and borrow rates, and what considerations you guys put into that impact? Will it potentially freeze a market, or do you not do that? These kinds of things. Does my question make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I understood your question. So yeah, when we give our recommendations to, let's say, we decided to increase supply and borrow caps. We do it primarily because we see that there is most likely a strong demand for the assets coupled with a strong liquidity. In that case, the rate, let's say, of supplying the asset and borrowing the asset has most likely increased. And for us, it makes sense to kind of maintain this rate to ensure that protocol is growing sustainably. Of course, we're looking at multiple factors, once again, including the circulating supply, liquidity on the market, like slippage rates. But we are doing that to, once again, propel the sustainable growth. So to your question, I think that we sometimes keep the change. When I say the change, I mean like the rate of borrows and the rate of the assets being supplied on the protocol. If we want to, I would say, reduce the rate at which the asset is borrowed or supplied, in that case, we might propose some IR changes. And that's why, sometimes we recommend, for example, adjusting kink or adjusting other IR parameters.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions from delegates for now, we'll go ahead and move on to Elliot from Solidity Labs. Here, I guess you'll talk a little bit about your past work, current work, as well as your delegate platform, if you'd like.
Awesome. Yeah. So Solidity Labs, yeah, as I said before, it's a boutique consulting shop doing smart contract development. We have a distributed team of engineers that are working on these smart contract systems, and we have a special focus on security. We've recently released a forge proposal simulator framework, and this is based on our experience working with projects like Moonwell and others, where we see a need for many different governance changes. And like Gauntlet talked about, right, there are many different parameter updates, and these happen on a regular basis. And so we've been also focused on building out tooling to assist with this and reviewing these changes as they're coming in to make sure that all the parameter updates are exactly what we expect and want them to be. And have also built testing and automation around that to ensure that things are going where we want them to go. Yeah, we have experience across a lot of different stablecoin and lending projects and a proven track record. And let's talk about how we've helped Moonwell. So on the base deployment, we helped with the uplifting the smart contract system from the older Solidity version to 0.8.9. There were some router contracts to make it easy for users who had ETH or other tokens and needed to fully repay their debts that we built out. And then we also built out the temporal governance system. So Moonwell has a very cutting edge cross-chain governance system that is live today. And this governance system allows the Moonbeam smart contract system to control the deployment on base via wormhole VAAs. So how this works is a DAO proposal is submitted on Moonbeam, and let's say it's Gauntlet and they want to make some parameter changes to the DAI market. And this is separate from the supply caps. Those are just a guardian. But let's say there's a change like an interest rate model update, or there is a interest rate model update, or a new collateral factor that's being set. Then that governance proposal will be created on Moonbeam, And once that proposal executes, it will be sent to Wormhole, where the temporal governor on base will receive the message. And after a 24-hour period of time lock, then the change will go live on base. So there's a lot of safety mechanisms that were built into the temporal governor, so that if Wormhole became malicious or compromised in any way, there would be recourse and way for the community to pause. And I guess that kind of leads us on to the next item, which is, we're currently involved in building smart contracts for the next phase of Moonwell's cross-chain journey. So there's a few different components to that. There's a token, and then there's a governance system. So the XWell token is going to be the XERC20 implementation of the Well token. So what this means is that users who are on Base and users who are on Moonbeam will be holding the exact same token. And what this will enable is users who are on Base to participate in governance. So you might be on Base, and right now, if you have Well on Base, you can't participate in governance. So this is going to, I think, be a pretty big unlock there. And there's an entire new cross-chain governance system that's also about to be code frozen today and be handed off to auditors tomorrow. And this system is going to allow Moonwell to deploy its governance contracts as well as the XWell token on any chain that the community sees fit. And then once it's deployed on those chains and a governance proposal passes, ratifying this change, then it will allow XWell token holders on many different chains, as long as they're EVM compatible, to place votes. I think this really sets the stage for, either future expansion and increased governance participation. We are also currently helping with the Nomad bad debt remediation. There was a RFP process to decide, which vendor would be helping out with the bad debt remediation, and a signaling snapshot poll put us in the lead. So there's currently that item in flight as well. And the software for that change is now written. It's been reviewed by Jared Flatow from Compound, the director of engineering at Compound. And he did not have anything bad to say about the architecture. He understands, the trade-offs. He thinks it all makes sense. And so the next phase in that project is going to be continued testing. We're going to be bringing the Certora prover into the project and the code base, and asking the prover certain questions about the properties of the system. So there's just certain things, certain invariants we want to make sure remain unchanged, to ensure just a smooth upgrade, and to ensure things are in a really, really good spot. And we are, 1,000% confident in this code before we hand it off to external auditors. So the things that are in flight, our delegate platform is pretty simple. We're just security focused developers. We've really try to be as rigorous as possible as we create smart contracts. We try to make the least amount of changes that we can, and simplify as much as possible. And we are here to further the development of the Moonwell protocol as well as the decentralization. So that is our platform. If there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Awesome. Thank you, Elliot. Looks like we have one question from Jack. I'd bring you up. Okay, you should be good to unmute, Jack.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. Just a follow-up on the Frax liquidity. Is there any, what's your best guess as far as like when that'll be taken care of?
Yeah, so great question. I think that once we're code frozen on the Xwell and the governance system today, we're going to be able to spend all of our time um, on the bad debt remediation contracts. So there's a few things there that kind of that need to fall into place. So there's going to be an additional testing effort. I think that probably, I don't think that takes more than a week, unless some really unexpected things happen. So maybe end of next week, we say, all right, we're confident enough to hand this off to auditors. I think the other thing though is that we've been trying to get whitelisted in the KYC process for the recovery effort. So we are on the multi-sig, and the coin list has really been riding their feet. So even if the code changes were live and all the bad debt was fixed and we swept all the nomad collateral to the multi-sig, the community reallocation multi-sig, we still would be blocked on transferring, moving those funds back to mainnet and turning them into Frax. So I guess that is kind of the big blocker right now is we have to figure out how this is going to happen. We've tried to back channel through like connections to the CoinList team, but so far no luck. So it's really at this point just a waiting game to see how long they take. I would say optimistically, if the code is frozen by the end of next week, so it's frozen on the 23rd. We hand it off to auditors on the 26th. Let's say it takes them a week. I think there's likely going to be a competition or some other security provider outside of Halborn brought in. And then after the competition happens, there's going to be another audit, I believe from Halborn. So Halborn, yeah, so it could be up to a month for the code to be code complete, and then we're also still blocked on the CoinList KYC side. But we will keep everyone updated in the forums as things evolve and as the code's frozen and as the KYC comes into effect.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Elliot. I think that's it for the questions for Solidity Labs. And if that's the case, we'll go ahead and go to our last contributor speaker, Hugo from Warden. I believe you'll be discussing tools that you recently released on the Warden platform. So go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys, I think I cannot share my screen right now. I don't have access to the button.
Let me go.
Okay.
Here.
Great. All right. So I wanted to do a quick rundown of what kind of information we offer to the community. And the information is available on Warden.finance. This is our platform where we show all of the information we use to do risk management for the protocol. And basically, we recently added a feature that allows anyone to see what's going on in the markets and track the impact of all of the recommendations that us and Gauntlet provide to the community. So I'll go ahead and open the Moonwell landing page we have, and the market section is the new things we added. So when you go in there, if it loads. Yeah, my network is a bit choppy. All right, got it. Yeah, so basically you have an overview of all of the markets, and you can see all of the top line metrics right over there. So one thing we recently recommended for the base markets is to reduce the caps for DAI. So I'll go ahead and open that market, and we'll see what's been going on recently in this market. So, like Camille said earlier, the utilization rate for that market is quite high, but right now, it's not. It's actually a kink, so it's pretty optimal. It could be a bit less, but it's pretty good. So over here we have a timeline of all of the governance change that has been applied to the market, and you can see what happened to TVL for that market when we applied these changes. So over here we see that we reduced the supply cap. So once we did that, the TVL dropped a little bit since users have been pulling out. And this chart over here, we can see the cap with an overlay of the total supply. So you can see like how the market progressed over time. And also same thing for total borrow. We also provide some of the pretty nice feature we have is the historical rates for the market, including the rewards. So you can see, so users can see what's the breakdown of the rate they've been receiving over time for supplying or borrowing. And you can see like what would be the max theoretical supply rate for doing a recursive strategy on this market. So right now, someone that would use max leverage on DAI would obtain 31% APY given the rewards and given the current borrow and supply rate. So yeah, one of the feature that really helps tracking like the impact of what the risk managers have been doing historically is the configuration section in the market. So basically over in that section, you see every single parameter that is currently applied on the market. You can see the current rate curve, and you can also access the full history of the market along with every single change that has been applied to the market, along with the impact. So let's say over here, we've got a pretty steep drop due to supply cap decrease. You can see it happened right there. You have access to the full log of that change. So you could see like also the change in rate curve and also all the reward rate changes. Our team also helps the DAO with optimizing reward rates. So we can go ahead and take a look at some of the markets. We've recently increased the reward rates. I think Rapstake ETH is one that has got a lot of growth recently. Yeah. Okay. So we've recently recommended to increase the reward rates on Rapstake ETH since on-chain liquidity has really increased and has been so basically the conditions for more growth has been there. You can see the total supply really increased after we have increased the reward rates. Let me see. That's in the configuration section. Yeah. So we've recommended an increase in reward rates about on January 26th, and since then, and also another one right after. So it's been growing ever since. And if liquidity is still growing, we might recommend more increase in reward rates in the future. And one market we've been actually tuning down in the last months is the USD BC market. And for this market, we've actually recommended reducing the reward rates so that we could help migrate to native USDC. Yeah. So as you can see, there's like a huge peak in TVL, and then once we decided to reduce the rewards to increase adoption for native USDC, there's been a steady decline in TVL, which was expected. And yeah, it's been quite effective at migrating the liquidity towards native USDC. So yeah, so all of these dashboards are available at warden.finance. So I encourage anyone to drop in on the dashboard and like just monitor everything that's going on and see if there's anything that can be improved. Yeah, feel free to DM me if you see anything. So yeah, I'll send it back to Alex.
So, thank you, Hugo. While I'm pulling up my presentation, just a reminder, if anyone has any questions, they can go ahead and raise their hand. Or if you're already on the stage, you can just unmute as well. Let's see here. Okay, I think that's presenting. So if not, we'll go ahead and go to our last section for the call. So yeah, we also have 2 delegates with us as well. And there were 2 main proposals that I wanted to talk about today. The first one was a little bit controversial, or at least I think there was some misunderstanding in the forums. It caused this thread to go on for quite some time. So I'd like to have on both Cool Horse Girl, who is the proposer of this, and Curly on to discuss it a little. Important discussion on both project runway, but also just the snapshot proposal process in general. So essentially, the first proposal had to do with the exhaustion of 50% of the MFAM incentives. Essentially, it was saying let's reallocate 20% of the MFAM token supply from the developer grants and incentives to instead be used as liquidity incentives. And yeah, so I guess I'll let you each expand a little bit further. And I think if we can, I'll go ahead and start with Cool Horse Girl. If you would like to raise your hand, I'll go ahead and give you access to talk a little bit about the proposal. Here we go. All right,
Hey
should
guys.
be good.
Cool. Yeah, hey guys, it's good to be here. Yeah, so I guess I'll intro myself. If you guys don't know me, I'm Cool Horse Girl. I'm a delegate at Moonwell, and I've served across DeFi DAOs for the past few years, and then I also work for Tally, the governance platform. So cool. This proposal was really urgent because the MFAM tokens that were used for liquidity incentives were exhausted. This is really important to keep the protocol moving. So I posted a proposal that proposed reallocating 20% of the MFAM token supply that was originally allocated to developer grants and incentives. There was a lot left in there for the record, to be utilized as liquidity incentives for Moonriver markets, MFAM staking, and then the MFAM Moonriver DEX pool, which is what the old MFAM liquidity incentives were for that were now exhausted. This was super critical because it was urgent, right? And we don't want everything to pause. We want to maintain a healthy liquidity pool. Then, I'll just run through the rest of the proposal. It was a ranked choice vote where 20% of MFAM token supply was going to be reallocated to liquidity incentives over 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. Then the last option was to make no change, and you could rank those. So this ended up passing by, I think, 65-ish% at the 2-year mark. Yeah, so one thing I'll point out a few that might foreshadow some of the like discussion on this vote was that couple people said some concerns about the wanting to do sort of a different plan than reallocate liquidity incentives from the developer grants and other things. However, this discussion took place on the forum. I ended up submitting the snapshot proposal without changes to the initial proposal because, I saw it as extremely urgent. And at the end of the day, the community can make their voice heard on the snapshot proposal instead of the forum. If they want a few more things, I'll point out that are also on the forum is that it's not a mandate to use all 20% of the developer grants for the 2-year period. It just allows that if it needs to be done. Monthly on-chain votes are still required to pull funds from this bucket, so it's not like happening underneath our feet. And then if we want to change track in the future, like literally tomorrow, we can. Any other community member can put up a snapshot vote at any time that differs from the plan. So yeah, all in all, I think it's really important to get something moving urgently. And yeah, we can always change course. So thanks, guys.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and then Curly, I guess if you wanted to chime in either on this proposal, or if you didn't want to talk about this one, you could also talk about the pink airdrop if you'd like.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Cool Horse Girl, for giving that rundown. And for all the other speakers, it was really great to hear from you all. Lots of cool things happening there. But yeah, to jump into the more controversial topic, first of all, I want to say that this was a great kind of turnout. I really enjoyed seeing the engagement that we had on the forums, and to see that this was the highest voted snapshot in our history is a good sign of increasing engagement. And at the end of the day, I think that is an important metric to aim for as well. To speak first on like the urgency piece of things, 100% get it. I think we're coming from a place where we're on the same team and we want the same things. Nobody wants to see rewards drop to zero, which will have drastic effects on liquidity on the protocol altogether. So we're coming from that perspective. I guess this issue kind of brought up a lot of additional issues that we can use as learning lessons moving forward. So the urgency piece is like, we kind of, as a community, as individuals participating in the community, should have been a little bit ahead of the game in terms of noticing that our tokens are running out, and we should have kind of started the conversation a little bit earlier. But that being set aside, like, we could take that as a learning lesson and move that forward to pay a bit closer attention to the things that really matter. Incentives being one of them. And then coming to the piece about how we bring new proposals to the table, and the protocols that we follow in order to make things happen. I think it is super important to first bring up these conversations on the forum, in the Discord, in the Telegram. And it is kind of not ideal that we have a fragmented community in that sense across different platforms, but in a decentralized world, it is what it is. We have to kind of deal with that. But at least having a place to have those conversations before we bring those proposals, put up those snapshot votes, I think are super important. So I also want to, say thank you to Cool Horse Girl for taking down the initial proposal once I brought that up on the forums. I think that was, a sign of good faith that we are working together and we want to hear each other out before we kind of take steps forward. I guess the one thing that I would bring up as I wish would have happened kind of thing was I wish that some changes were made to the proposal based on the conversation and based on the opinions of folks that made their opinions known on the forum. I think the way it was written, it was at least gave me the impression of something that might not have been the intention of the proposal. Like, yes, it was urgent. Yes, we need to get some liquidity, some liquidity into the incentive pools. But do we need to make this decision for the next 2 years and kind of earmark these funds right now? I don't think was absolutely necessary. I think we could have had shorter time frames, and then with that being the emergency band-aid solution, to then say, okay, let's spend 3 months, let's set aside 3 months worth of incentives, and then let's spend these 3 months to decide, do we want to then put the rest of the 20% as you proposed into that pool, or do we want to discuss other kind of steps moving forward? And one thing that I'm a huge proponent of is protocol-owned liquidity. I think in looking longer term, even beyond these 2 years that we have now incentives for, I think we're going to want to build up this protocol-owned liquidity so that we don't have to keep relying on incentives moving forward. And for me, that is, I guess, a more valuable kind of use of these grants funds, and have some ideas around what we can use these funds for, and getting the community more involved to generate ideas and then implementing those ideas. So that's essentially where I was coming from. I didn't see the need for I guess 2 years is a long time in the crypto space. So I didn't see the need for making an emergency decision that has long-term effects. And we could have done a little bit smaller steps, and just to have that as an option for the community. Again, I'm a huge proponent of DAOs, of people making their voice heard. And if that option was there and people chose to do the 2 year version, I'm all for that. I'll back that, and I'm not disappearing just because my way didn't happen on the snapshot vote. I'm in this community for the long term. I want the best for the community, and that's why I was vocal and made my opinions known in that regard. So several kind of topics there to mention. The urgency piece, like we should be on top of things more, having a better process on bringing things to the forum, having discussions before we put things up for, and then in the case that there are differing votes or differing opinions, collating those opinions into a single vote so that members have a more accurate picture of the things that the options that are on the table. Because let's face it, even though we had the highest turnout for a snapshot vote, with I think it was like just over 50 million, that is still only like a small, I think maybe 5% of the total kind of tokens that are in existence, not counting like those that are actually still locked up in grants and so forth. I digress. Like we want to increase voter participation, but we also don't want to increase voter fatigue by creating multiple votes of differing opinions for people to read more and go back and forth and debate. Making it simple for everybody, as simple as possible, I think is also a goal that we should attain and aim for. And so that also means like working together with people that might have differing opinions to create one vote that presents those opinions for the community to vote on. Yeah, I've been talking for a long time. I'll kick it back to whomever to kind of continue this discussion.
Yeah, no, that's great, Curly. Thank you.
Yeah,
someone wanna jump in?
I have a few questions. I mean, I guess it's from my previous experiences at stablecoin protocols where their large amount of protocol owned liquidity or PCD is managed. I've seen that there's a lot of unique challenges around around putting that money actually to work. I think that it's actually a very, very hard problem to be managing assets in a decentralized and distributed way. And I'm just I would just be, I guess my question would be, how do you ensure that the Moonwell DAO like goal of providing lending and borrowing to users on across chains, how do you ensure that that remains the North Star while there's also this other new thing, which is how how do you manage this liquidity? I mean, like if we look at Olympus, right? They've been I don't think they've been overperforming the market. Let's just say that with their protocol and liquidity. And I guess the other question that I have to you would be, you know, how can we focus on process, or what part of the process did you think was incorrect? Because it did seem to me that there was all the steps that needed to be gone through, and allow people to voice their opinions and be heard were kind of followed.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of directed to me, so I'll just jump in. I'll answer the second question first. The process being that the initial proposal was put up with zero discussion, and so we talked about that, and that was addressed. Cool Horse Girl pulled it down. We had a discussion, and then it was resubmitted. And so that part of the process, I think we just take that lesson moving forward to have discussion before we put up proposals. And then the second piece of the process, I would say we could learn from is bringing together diverse ideas, even opposing ideas, in a single vote to make it simpler for the community to understand and vote on a single piece there. And then again, double tapping on the original urgency of things, just being more proactive about, oh, these rewards are going to run out in X number of months. Let's put a reminder in that and have this discussion 6 months before we're running out of tokens, instead of, oh no, we need to make a decision right now or else everything's going to blow up. I think these are some of the learning lessons there. For the first question that you asked about how do we manage protocol owned liquidity, I think, well, I'm not too sure what you meant specifically about overperforming the market in terms of protocol owned liquidity in terms of Olympus. But I guess my opinion on that in terms of performance is that we would need less incentives to have a base layer of liquidity. And I think that is a major goal for us to aim for, because then we just avoid the mercenary liquidity problem where people are just coming for the incentives. And as soon as those incentives run out, all the liquidity drains out and we're left with a useless protocol. So I'm thinking long term, how do we maintain Moonwell long into the future, where we don't necessarily need incentives, or at least not in the same way that we're incentivizing people with our governance token now. And actually was taking a look at the numbers, like Moon River, like Apollo actually has a pretty decent amount of reserves already. I consider that a protocol owned liquidity. We're taking small parts of each of the incentives on both sides of the markets and building up those reserves. And those reserves are directly going back into the supply side of things. And so I think there's about 20%, if my calculations were correct, of the liquidity currently on Moon River is protocol owned liquidity. I think that's really great. And I think we can continue to increase that through different mechanisms using the MFAM tokens that we currently have, or the WELL tokens that we currently have, to get in that liquidity now. And that will allow us to earn more of the rewards that are currently being given out to potential mercenaries. Not saying everybody is just here for the incentives, but I'm sure there's a good portion of the market that is here for that. And so the idea is to continue building up those reserves, and then have discussions about how do we incentivize WELL and MFAM token holders to keep this safeguarding the ecosystem, and perhaps gain some sort of kickbacks or incentives from the reserves that we have. So it changes the model from giving incentives to people that are providing liquidity, which may leave at the drop of a hat, more to giving incentives to the people that are going to make the decisions that safeguard and continue to grow and make the protocol more robust.
Awesome. Yeah, thank
I
you.
guess-
Elliot,
I
did you have
guess,
something?
yeah, I would love to just say one. I guess to me, just past experiences with protocol owned liquidity and protocol controlled value have not. I've always felt that it's kind of it kind of boils down to a philosophical question about like, well, why are people using the protocol in the first place? And I think that if we look across, if we look at Moonbeam, right, as a case study, it provides a service and it has liquidity that no other project in the chain has. If we look at Base, it was Moonwell was early deploying and has really been able to provide a valuable product to that community. And to me, it almost seems like the protocol on liquidity is maybe not the right question. I think that the question is like, I think maybe the question we should ask is like, why do people use Moonwell, and how do we make our lending market how do we make it better? How do we improve in a bunch of different ways to attract more people who and provide services to markets that are not being served currently. Because if the focus is just okay, getting a big pile of money in the door and then providing liquidity, like to what end? Who does that serve? I think that just this is just my opinion based on my experiences. I feel like you look at markets like Morpho on mainnet, right, and they've surpassed $1 billion in TVL with going live with it just like not even a month ago. And so then it's like, and they're giving out incentives, but are people betting on the incentives there? For sure. But I think there's also they're providing an experience that no other lending market on mainnet is providing. So that is attracting a lot of capital and a lot of attention and a lot of eyeballs. And I think also there's a very long-term focus and a long-term mindset and security focused mindset. And I think that a lot of the stuff that we're doing around the next version of this governance system, I think will be really great marketing material. Just demonstrating all the testing and kind of showing all the things that went into the V2 of the governance system. And I think that bringing that to the table and displaying that, I think that will attract a lot of people on Base and potentially wherever else things go.
Yeah, I think that's a great question to bring up is like, why are we building this protocol to begin with? I think a lot of what happens in crypto is drawing from the quote unquote traditional markets. Like you can go to your bank and get a loan there, and it comes down to like capital efficiency. Like, do I want to give up X so that I can take advantage of this Y opportunity, or can I have kind of the best of both worlds and pay a small fee where I can make some speculation and make some bets, and hopefully in the end I end up better than I started off. The downside right now in the crypto market is that we are living in a world of over collateralized positions where it's not completely efficient. And so I'm thinking, I guess, more long term, where in a world where we're using some newer technologies, perhaps digital identities or some kind of crediting system where we don't necessarily have to have over collateralized loans. And I think Moonwell building up its own protocol, own liquidity that is sticky and not reliant on potential mercenaries to provide, we could then position ourselves to, in partnership with other new technologies, to service these folks as a place to request and receive their loans. So I think I guess I'm a bit of an idealist, thinking longer term that we can solve these harder problems. But I think a base level of we use the term of be your own bank, but sometimes you need other people to provide liquidity. So we could be a bank in a sense. I don't want to get into too treacherous regulatory waters, but I think you guys get what I mean. We could be that place where there is reliable liquidity for people to use to better their financial moves, for lack of a better term.
All right. Yeah, that was a great discussion. If anyone else has any thoughts on that, Eli, I know you, and if you wanted to speak, you could.
Hey, yeah, and realizing we're at time, I just wanted to say a word or two. I think I know pretty much everyone here, but I'm Majin, or Eli with the Lunar Labs team. And I just, yeah, want to say a few quick words. First off, a big welcome to Boardroom as the newest contributing team to Moonwell. And just a thank you to everyone here for taking time out of your busy schedules for this. Like Curly stated on the forum, these calls are like a really great opportunity for us here to talk in a more organic and human way. There's going to be disagreements, and I think it's really about how we communicate with each other, how we resolve those issues, and chatting over voice and in a more human way can really get things moving along. As we've seen today, I think that was a super interesting discussion between Cool Horse Girl, Curly, and Elliot there. Also just want to shout out that, as a community, we are really privileged to have such an amazing cast of contributors and community members. Just looking at the stage right now, we may be relatively small in size, but our potential is just massive. Like in this call right now, we have Gauntlet and Warden, two of the absolute leaders in risk management in the crypto industry. We have Solidity Labs, one of the best Solidity development companies in the industry. We have Boardroom, one of the best in governance facilitation, actually like leading the way to like what governance facilitation actually is and how we can improve DAOs. And I don't know. I'm just super, super excited about the future of Moonwell and Moonwell governance. I'm confident Boardroom is going to help take Moonwell governance to that next level, keeping everyone in the loop, highlighting opportunities for community members, people on this call to get further involved, and just to keep us talking, keep coordinating, and keep growing. Like we've done today. So again, I realize we're at time. I just wanted to say that piece, say how excited I am, give you all a big thank you, and these are the people building Moonwell, and sky's the limit. And I just thank you all for your time today.
Yeah, that was great, Eli. That was a really, really optimistic way to end the call. That was great. Yeah, I think this was a really productive discussion. In the future, these calls will be much more proposal focused, so more along the lines of the second half of this call. But yeah, I think it's great to touch base over your voice, to chat about these things, answer questions, to clarify thought processes, and debate a little bit as well. So yeah, I think that'll clarify everything that we really wanted to talk about today. We did leave a little bit of time for a community Q&A, but I think that we had everyone speaking they really wanted to speak. So yeah, I guess that'll go ahead and conclude it for today. I want to say thank you everyone for joining. It was great, and the next call will be in early next month, so for the first week. So it'll just a couple weeks from today. So thank you everybody. It was great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Alex, for facilitating this. This was really great. Thanks.
No problem. See you guys.
Yeah.